Hey guys, I wanted to take just a second to address the whole reviews and review video thing. You know, a lot of people are kind of funny about watching a review video, you know, showing me a commercial, blah, 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 blah. I get that. I totally get that. But my thinking here is, if I see something that is interesting to me, that I think, wow, that's kind of cool, I got to believe that you guys would probably think it's pretty cool too. And I got to think that as many views as we get, some of you guys might actually be contemplating buying one of these things or something like this anyway. So thinking, you know, a review, that couldn't possibly hurt, you know. Like I said, if I'm interested in it, you probably are too. But I'll tell you this, I won't let the reviews interrupt my regularly scheduled videos. So I usually put a video out Friday afternoon, 6 to 6:30, and I'll continue to do that, and they won't be review videos, they'll be my regular content. If I have a review video to put out, I'll stick that out there in the middle of the week as kind of a little added extra bonus for you guys. Curious what you guys think about that. You know, are you cool with that or what? Just a quick question. So anyway, thanks for listening to that. Back to the show. Well, what's going on, guys? And welcome back to a very scannery, reviewy version of Project Time Garage. If you guys watch very much of my content at all, then you'll know that there's a fair amount of diesel content involved here. Specifically with the 7.3 and even some more on the 6.0 here. And you'll also know that I've got a bunch of different scanners and a bunch of different various ways to connect to and talk to the trucks. I've got everything down from the, you know, the most basic Bosch scanner all the way up to an obscenely expensive bi-directional ECU programming scanner that will do about everything, or most everything anyway. But we were sent this scan tool from a company called Ansel, and this promises to be a pretty interesting tool here, because it offers a lot of the same things that my insanely expensive scan tool can do. Now, it can't do ECU programming, but it can do a lot of other stuff, you know, immobilizer key programming, bidirectional support, the Bluetooth VCI or wired VCI. Actually, with my insanely expensive scanner, I had to buy the Bluetooth VCI for it. Come to think of it. Anyway, today's video is going to involve unboxing this thing and going through it to just see what it's about, what it can and can't do, what its capabilities are, and just kind of get to know the tool. Because I think for the price point, it's probably going to be a pretty good tool for a lot of the mid-level hobbyist guys out there. I think at the time of recording this, which today is end of February 2023, this thing is running about $500 out there on Amazon. But when you stack it up to other tools, you know, your Snap-ons, your Matcos, your Macs, your Autels, some of those big tools, it's the price is not too bad. And it'll probably handle the majority of what guys like me are gonna ask of it. And the big question I have is, what all does it support on the Ford Powerstroke? I want to see on the 6.0 and the 7.3 both. What can it and what can't it do? Let's get this thing on the bench. Let's unbox it, run through it real quick. Let me give you some info on the specs and so on and so forth. And then let's start plugging this thing up and see what we got. Also, if you guys are planning on buying one of these things, I have a discount code for you. There's a link down in the description of the video below, so you can pause the video. Definitely don't stop the video because you want to watch the whole thing. Pause it, scroll down there, you'll see a link to be able to buy this thing, and a coupon code. It's going to be Ansel V6 Pro. I'll put it down here somewhere in the video. Use that coupon code at checkout, save you another 9%, so pretty good money there. That discount code, that's good between March the 12th and March the 26th. So if you're planning on buying one of these things, jump out there and get it done. Let's unbox it. Nice hard shell case. Yeah, this is the VCI I was talking about. So Let's get some cables out here, show you how this thing works. Well, here's the tablet itself, or the scanner itself. Comes with a handy dandy user manual. We're definitely going to read that later. The VCI, Vehicle Communication Interface. And some cables. This is a USB cable that you can use to connect between the USB port on this thing and the VCI, like that. And this is the interface or the cable that you would use to plug into the VCI and go ahead and go out to your OBD2 port on your vehicle. So it looks like that. Now, this cable right here is not completely necessary because the scanner is able to communicate with a VCI via Bluetooth. So that's really good. And I'm assuming when you plug this thing into your OBD2 port, that will power this thing up. Set that aside a second and let's talk a little bit about the tablet itself. This is an 8-inch touchscreen tablet running Android version 10. We have 2 gigs of RAM on board and 32 gigs of storage. It features a quad-core processor running at 2 gigahertz. And for the battery, they claim 8 hours of uninterrupted runtime. As far as exterior hardware goes, it's got this this really ruggedized case on there that looks like it would probably survive a fall pretty well. On the outside, just kind of walking around it, we have the power interface for charging. We have what appears to be a USB 3 interface. This would be for connecting your VCI if you chose to do so via USB. Also, we have a card slot on here. This is for a micro SD card. And I really like this because the biggest thing for me is it allows me to sideload software onto it via APK files rather than having to, find a store or whatever. An example of that is I installed a piece of screen recorder software on this already, and I did so by going to the manufacturer's website, downloading their Android APK, which, if you're not sure what APK is, it's just an Android installation file, like a Windows executable, sort of, or like a Windows installer file, same thing. And it allows me to load things like that. Also, screen recordings and things like that I do with this, or any data that this thing outputs, I can choose to save that back out to the SD card, and it's easy to transport this between machines. Very simple. Moving on, we also have a HDMI and a USB-C port. I assume the HDMI is an output port, and USB-C I assume would be for connecting external devices to it. We have the power button here. Nothing on either side except for this textured grip. Nothing on the bottom. On the back, we have a stand, which is pretty handy, but also I find that this is a remarkably handy thing to hang over the steering wheel in your car when you're testing things. So you can tilt the wheel up and hang this thing over the steering wheel and be sort of hands-free. Also in the back, we have a camera and a flashlight. If you want to take pictures of something on the car, or maybe document the state this car came in, or video something for the customer, that's already in there. So we've already got the thing powered on, and this is what the main screen looks like. Now, one of the first things I did here with mine is if you scroll down from the top of the screen, and you see I have a recording in progress, ignore that because I want to record what I'm doing here for you guys. We can pull down again and we get some more things here. The gear icon is what I'm going for. And once you get in here, this is pretty much like standard plain old Android. If we go into About Tablet, we see that this device name is Ansel 801, and we are running Android version 10. And we do see an IP address off of my retro Wi-Fi network, which is a network I use to connect things and sort of sandbox them so they can't go places and misbehave on me. Anyway, scrolling back to the top, network and internet, we see that Wi-Fi is connected. If you wanted to connect to a Wi-Fi network, you would just click it and it'll show you a list of all the Wi-Fi networks that it can see. And whichever one you want, you just click on or tap on, enter the password if one exists, which hopefully one exists, and you're up and going. Also, some things that I found handy before we ever even bring this thing up is inside the actual software itself. If I go to settings, there is an option here to take a screenshot or an option to record the screen. Now, yes, I already have a piece of screen recording software on here, but because I don't think this piece of software records anything outside of the actual software itself. I could be wrong on that. I haven't tested it, and I probably won't. I just use the same screen recorder for all the little Android type things that I do. Anyway, as soon as you get this thing and you get this thing on your network, the first thing you're going to want to do is go to version update, and it's going to look. In my case, it said it is the latest version, but when I clicked check update, it did go out and find an update and apply it and got me up to version 12.2 of the Ansel software. Now that that's taken care of, we can go back into the main screen and let's go to update. Now the first time you see this, it's going to give you a username and a password, and probably a good idea to click this little eyeball right here a couple of different times. And probably you want to save this password out here because I have a feeling you may need this at some point in your life. I don't really know what, I don't know what the future holds for anything, so write down passwords. This is a password that was already in the tablet. I didn't make this one up. It just came like this. Anyway, when you hit login, if you haven't already done this, it's going to ask you to register the device. So you need to go out there and put in username and, basic information about who you are, and then it'll send you a confirmation email to whatever email address you specify. So make sure you use a good email address, boys and girls. At that point, you'll need to log into your email and click on the link to validate and basically start your account on here. Now, from what I was reading, this has a 2-year update on it, and once the updates run out, you can still scan it, or you can still use it to scan vehicles. You just can't get updates for newer stuff. So let's say that my update expires today, right? And let's say next year I want to scan a 2025 model year Nissan Frontier. Well, I don't have the 2025 model year information in here, so I couldn't do that without re-upping my support package. I can scan anything that the scanner already has loaded up. So 2023 and back, I would still be able to use. And that's kind of the way most of these scanners tend to work. So don't think that you're tied into having to get a support plan forever. You just need one if you're planning to get new functionality as it's released. Another thing that happens a lot is I find that with immobilizer keys, if I want to program the immobilizer on, or if I want to program a new key fob or a new smart key for vehicle X, I can try all 415 of my dadgum scanners, and like 2 or 3 of them just simply won't do it, and some others will. So that seems to always be the thing with scanners, with all of these. Even my insanely expensive one back there that I'm like over 3,000 bucks deep in, I run into stuff every once in a while that it can't do. So just be mindful of that sometimes you have to bounce back and forth to get what you want. Once we get into this screen, it's probably a good idea to go in and put check marks. If you see anything here, anything that says new beside it, you'll see that there's an update for it. And you can even see in blue what update there is. What I've done is I've gone through and I found every vehicle, let's go down to the bottom. I've found every vehicle that I think I might you know, use or be interested in. And I've put a check mark beside those. And once you put a check mark, let's say for example Land Rover, I put a check mark there and I hit download. It's going to begin downloading, you know, the latest information for Land Rover. Now, there's a lot of this stuff I just really don't care about. You know, the Changan and Fuso and Opel and VAG GRP. I haven't even ever heard of most of these, so even if there were updates, I wouldn't get them anyway. Let's back out. And as you see, you can see in the corner here, I am 80% of the way updated. So this is the VCI, or the Vehicle Communication Interface, and this is what basically does the heavy lifting between the scanner and your actual car. And like I said earlier, you can use this in two ways. You can either use it via Bluetooth to the tablet, or you can use the USB interface and connect it to the tablet via a cable. I guess the only reason that I can see right offhand that you would care to do that is if for whatever reason your OBD2 port wasn't able to, if your OBD2 port wasn't able to power the VCI, you know, either you would have to plug in here and power it externally, or you would use this and the tablet will power it. But I'm sure that if the tablet's powering this, it's going to drain the battery faster than the tablet. So just all little things to keep in mind. It can do a variety of hot reset services like ABS reset, DPF reset, TPMS resets, the start-stop feature, suspension, battery test, injector tests, oil off resets, and on and on and on. There's about 25 hot reset functions that it supports. And it probably doesn't support all of those functions across every manufacturer. None that I've found actually do support everything across every manufacturer. Maybe there is one, but I damn sure haven't found it yet, and I've got quite a bit of money wrapped up in scanners so far. The thing covers about 10,000 different vehicles in about 11 languages. So if you have 10,000 vehicles and speak 11 languages, this bad boy is right up your alley, right? Well, I think at this point, probably the best thing to do is let's get to know it via putting it in the truck and see what it does. Let's go out to the truck. Let's start with the 6.0 Powerstroke. All right, so when I plug in here, I see my VCI light up. Bluetooth is flashing. Let's see if we have to do anything on the tablet in order to pair this. So for now, I'll just lay it down here in the floorboard. And on our tablet here, let's see what we have to do. All right, now that the tablet has woke up, I can see up in the top of the screen there, I have an OBD. I know you can't see anything with the glare. That's why I'm going to put the screenshot up here. Anyway, up here in the top, I can see OBD, and I can see that I'm showing 13 volts coming from the car. So my VCI is connected just like that. Let's start with diagnose. Let's just walk through some screens and see what we have. In this case, I'm going to choose America and Ford America. And we can see the little flashy light up in the corner that we are talking to the VCI. Oh, look, this is where I was talking about the little steering wheel hanger. Pop this out, hang it over the steering wheel. Look how cool that is. So let's see if it'll automatically search to see what we have. Let's turn the ignition on as it says. And okay. Mine's going to be a 2003 model year, so it knows that. So it's an F-Series Super Duty 6.0 direct injection turbo, diesel, all the good stuff. Looks to be good. Yes, communicating. So let's look at the diagnose screen. Let's try to do an auto scan here and just see what it'll do. Go through and let it figure out what all's going on. So there we go. I've got 2 in the powertrain control, 2 in the gym. Let's start with the gym. read DTCs. Okay. So transfer case solenoid opener short to ground, and transfer case solenoid circuit failure, which is strange because they both work fine. Let's run back. We'll go all the way back to our DTC errors. Let's look at the cluster. Read our DTCs. And I got an option of self-test or retrieve. So let's choose retrieve. SCP data link fault. Let's look at repair help. What does it say here? Not a lot. All right, so back to the beginning let's have a look at our powertrain control. And we'll read our DTCs. Check this out. We have things we can do. Let's try to do this key on engine running on demand self-test. Switch to be cycled on and off during self-test, so we hit OK. And here it goes. I don't know if you can hear that, but the truck is going through its deal. So I've got a cylinder 6 contribution balance issue. Fuel injector, valve train assembly, compression rings, or anything. Could be a lot. But anyway, I know that it's there, but let's back up again here because here's something else that's interesting, I think. The key on engine off injector self-test. So let's click on this. I'm going to turn it off, but I'm going to try to just leave the key on because that's key on engine off. And let's just hit OK and see if it'll, yeah, here it goes. I can actually hear each one of them ticking under the hood. You probably can't, and evidently it just runs through them over and over and over until I choose to end the diagnosis. And I want to end. Okay, so that's good. Interesting that it shot me all the way back out to the main screen. That's pretty interesting. We'll go back to automatically search. Ignition is on. 03 model year, yes. And what if we go to diagnose and control unit? Now we have all kinds of things that we can diagnose. Let's go into the powertrain control module. This is again where all the engine stuff lives. And let's look at some active tests in here that we might be able to do. So, okay, wow, we have quite a bit of stuff here. So we can disable injectors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. VGT turbo percentage. Let's start it and see what happens. So with this, I can actually change my VGT. Or, you know, I can change the size of the unison ring. And as I go up, I can hear my turbo starting to talk more. And we'll cancel that. So what about things like injector 1 disable? Disable. I can also monitor it. I have an idea. Let's see if this scanner can diagnose why my cruise control doesn't work. I have a suspicion, but I've not hooked it to a scanner. I believe it's I think it's the switch out there on the master cylinder. Let's figure that out. To do that, we should be able to go to control unit, and it's going to be, I believe that's in powertrain, so PCM. And let's look at our data list. And the two things I want to see on the screen in this case are going to be my brake pressure applied switch and brake on off switch. So I'll bring those both up there. So as I'm pressing my brake, you can see that my brake on off switch is happening, but my brake pressure applied switch is not happening. Probably why my cruise control doesn't work will be my guess. See, I've already gotten some useful data out of it. So that's what it can do on the 6.0. Let's go see what it'll do on the 7.3, the old Powerstroke. All right, well, this is a 2000 model year Ford F-250 with a 7.3 diesel in it. And just kind of curious if all the same kind of tests are supported on this one. Usually I use other means of doing this. So let's check it out. Ford America. And actually I better turn the key on because it's going to want that. Okay, key is on. Let's automatically search for a vehicle. Ignition's on, communicating. So this is going to be a 2000 model year. F-Series 7.3 direct injection. Okay, yes. And let's just, I don't know, let's go to diagnose. Let's see what it can do. And let's choose our control unit to be the, see, way less stuff on this guy here. Let's go to the PCM. Also, I noticed the communication is way slower with the older version of the truck. Module information. All right, so let's see about special functions. And let's choose the powertrain and engine checks. Nope. Trying to find to see if we are able to do a buzz test on this guy. I would think it'd be under diagnose, wouldn't it? Control unit, powertrain. Maybe read DTCs. Ah, there we go. Okay. So this is a little misleading the way this is set up, but I understand what's going on now. So let's do a buzz test or electrical self-test. Same thing we did on the 6.0. It's just the 7.3 is a little louder. Let's run through it. I'll get closer to the truck so you can hear it better. Okay. And yeah, we know all the same things. There's all 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it looks like this particular scanner will start all over again, I think, and redo the test or stay in the test until you hit end diagnosis. So we'll hit end diagnosis. So I know the wastegate control valve performance is really, really bad on here because there's not one. And the boost sensor A circuit is high, meaning we got too much boost. Yep, know that too. And glow plug lamp circuit. Not too sure about that, but I think all my glow plugs work. Starts great in 0 weather. Let's do a cylinder contribution self-test. I'm just curious. To do this, we see it's KOER. That's going to be key on engine running. So let's start the truck. Sorry about this noise in advance. Okay. Like I said, noisy. Anyway, cylinder contribution self-test. Okay. So I guess that was completed successfully. How about the on-demand self-test? Let's try to run that on the truck. Okay. I guess that test finished too. Okay, let me shut the noisemaker off. So does it support the Ford Powerstroke? It sure appears to. It sure appears to do about everything that you want to do with it. So, you know, without making a 6-hour-long video of every single thing you can possibly do, pretty happy with it. All right, well, I've been able to live with this thing for, I don't know, a few weeks now, and honestly, it's done really well. You know, I will say this: I've had a couple of little things that were kind of strange to me. One example was trying to get live data from a 7.3, a 2000 model year 7.3, not the one that I showed you earlier in the video, but another one. Trying to do live data on that particular one, it would just say, you know, not found or some generic message like that. On that particular one, I was trying to look at the injection control pressure, and anytime I would hit live data, it would come up and just give like a generic not found. In fact, I tried to run live data on everything that I could possibly think of on the truck, and it just would never load up the live data on that one. Now, was that an issue with the scanner or the truck? I don't know, but I can tell you that my 2000 model 7.3 shows live data no problem. So may have been something at the truck, I don't really know. I also noticed on particular Kia models, like the Kia Soul, if you chose the correct Kia Soul model, like I think it was a PS, is what we have, a few PSs or whatever. If you chose that particular model, then you didn't have the correct years. You had to choose the incorrect Soul model, generation model, to get the correct years. But, you know, once you chose all that stuff, everything worked just fine. So, again, it's little anomalies, and I'll tell you what, I'm not going to fault the tool for it, because all the scanners that I have weird stuff like that. Certain support for certain vehicles, but not great support for certain vehicles. And I think that's just the name of the game with a lot of these scanners. And I'm sure you could go get like a Snap-on Solus or whatever, and, you know, spend 10 grand on one. It'll probably do a really good job, but we're talking in the $500 range here. So, you know, there's that. Anyway, all in all, really pleased with the tool, especially at the price point it's at. If you're planning on buying one of these, it's probably not a bad investment. And if you are planning on buying one of these tools, don't forget that 9% discount code that I told you about earlier in the video. When you get out here to buy it, put in the promotion code Ansel V6 Pro. I'll put it right down here somewhere in the video so you can see it. I'll also link it down in the video description. So there'll be a link to buy it. Use that code at checkout, save you another 9% off of it. So, 9% off $500, pretty real money. That promotion is good from March the 12th through March the 26th. So, make sure you run out there and take advantage of that if you're planning on it. So, as usual, guys, I really appreciate you watching it. Hope you got something out of this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends about us. And guys, I'll see you next time.